So hey guys, welcome to Owen Sound. Today we're going to be doing our top picks for my favorite songs of the year. Once again, apologies guys for the lack of music content on this channel so far. It's just too many albums. I found myself in the last year getting to that saturation point where I have so many albums that wanting to do a monthly feature of my favorite albums of the month has been, frankly, at certain months either too small or too big of a task. And I'm going to try to work on this going forward, just doing some sort of roundup going every once in a while instead of focusing on maybe say like a monthly basis where one month might have 30,000 releases. So I'm gonna start things off with a couple songs that were in my favorites but not my top 10. And somehow a lot of Canadian artists fit in my honorable mentions for my favorites of the year. Starting off is July Talk's Push and Pull. This is the new track that they used to launch their album Touch. This track was a huge step forward for the band. I felt them mixing in some sort of electronic and dark synthy elements was really fun, and always their use of dynamics is just something just so fun, especially with the way that they use their vocals to contrast each other in this powerful way. And you can even feel it now in the music with the grit of the guitars, with the lighter side of the synths matching both Peter and Leah's vocals. Next up is One More by Weaves. This is the Toronto noise rock band off of their self-titled album. And I just felt like this song was one of those songs that's just this fun punk noise rock song that you just really get into and jam out to. And just the overall sense of fun at the intensity of the song is just really contagious. Next up is Below by White Lung off of their new album Paradise. This was once again one of these songs that really blew me away from a band that's mostly known for some really aggressive, fast, and almost abrasive punk rock. And the way that they mix in these lighter elements and just some weird senses of, I guess, different effects that they've never used before and sounds that weren't necessarily White Lung, while mixing in their soul and energy and the overall feeling of the band back into this was just this huge step forward, and I felt like a really great evolution for the band. Next one up is Mothers of the Sun by Black Mountain from their album 4. This Vancouver metal band really summed up where rock is trying to go with this mix of old and new these days, where I really feel rock is really at its best nowadays, especially with groups like Tame Impala and even Unknown Mortal Orchestra, just mixing in these old and new types of sounds. And I really just felt like this band really nailed it on this one track with some of the most delicious distortion of the entire year. Speaking of Tame Impala, one of my favorite songs of the year was also a Tame Impala cover. This is of course Rihanna's cover of Same Old Mistakes off of her new album Anti. I just felt like this was actually probably my favorite version of the song overall. It felt like Rihanna's vocals over this new mix of the song just worked way better than the original version in some subtle ways. But overall I just felt this was a more accessible and fun version of the song that didn't necessarily take anything away from the Tame Impala version or felt like it was compromising it. Next up is the song Bamboo by Heinz. This is of course is the Spanish quartet known for their really interesting and fun and just super playful style of music. This song really just summed up that entire feeling for me with their kind of Velvet Underground but even caring a little less in a fun way, and just the way that they mix up their vocals in these kind of loose and playful harmonies. I know I'm using that word a lot, but it just shows this is super fun lo-fi jam out between the four girls in this band. It's just really fun, and I feel like it's underrated in terms of how great a track it is. Surprisingly not breaking my top 10 is The Kills' Heart of a Dog. I really love The Kills, but this year there's so many great albums that they just didn't crack it. This is of course off their album Ash and Ice, and this track just has this great feel of them evolving their sound a little bit in terms of the guitar tone, but being authentically Kills and Allison's vocals and just the way that the guitar swings and just the overall sense that the band always brings in a great and powerful way. The calls of I'm Loyal and just the way that the song chugs in this guttural but like really great way made it one of my favorites. Once again, Lake Street Dives I Don't Really Care About You from their album Side Pony. Great guitar tone, the overall way that they use these different sections and compose a song is just really great. The band's always really fun, and I just felt like this track was an interesting, more rocky track from the band. I really want to give a great shout out to Winter Sleep for their track America from The Great Detachment. The opening riff to this song with the weird mix of guitar and vocals that I can never tell which is which, and just the overall composition of the song was really great. I just felt by the end of the year there were once again too many great songs, and this one did fall off for me by the end of the year to not break into the top 10. And lastly was Chairlifts to Ching. Great move forward for the band, really moving more into a solid straight pop vibe, but I just felt like the band mixed in enough of their own style, some great saxophones which always get bonus points from me, and just a weird sense of them trying to break into pop, which I really loved. But for now, I wanted to leave you guys with the question, what are your favorite tracks of the year?